This story is titled, My Golden Child Sister Intentionally Booked Her Wedding on the Same Day as Our Sister's Graduation. So we boycotted the wedding, and it was called off. Now she is begging. Hey everyone! Before we jump into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed the channel is losing some traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It's quick, free, and it helps us keep bringing you awesome content. Your support means the world. Let's keep this channel growing together. Thanks so much. Now let's start the video. Hey Reddit! If you've ever been in a family where one sibling gets treated like royalty, while the rest of you are left scrambling for scraps of attention, you'll probably relate to this. My family isn't just dysfunctional, it's practically a case study. 7 siblings, all competing for approval, except one of us didn't need to try. Erin, the golden child. And boy, did she know it. My parents had us spread out across about 15 years, which meant chaos 24/7 growing up. We've got Lydia, the eldest, the responsible one. Josh was the quiet middle kid who managed to stay out of the mess. Then there's Leo, the class clown, cracking jokes when things get tense. Me? I'm the fixer, the one who tries to keep the peace, even though I hate it. Then comes Nadia, who's the sweetest, most hardworking person you'll ever meet. She's the quiet achiever, doing great things but never demanding the spotlight. Erin, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. And finally, there was Lexi, the surprise baby, who was just happy to exist in the middle of all the chaos. This dynamic made for some pretty wild moments. But Erin? She took things to another level. Let me tell you how life with a golden child really goes. From the moment Erin was born, she was special. Or at least that's what Mom said. She came early, tiny, and fragile, and Mom never let us forget it. Anytime Erin threw a tantrum, demanded something ridiculous, or cried because she wasn't getting her way, or threw a fit at the dinner table, she's just sensitive. If she wanted something that belonged to someone else, she's fragile. Just let her have it. By the time she hit her teens, Erin knew exactly how to weaponize that golden child status. Growing up with Erin wasn't just annoying, it was exhausting. Everything had to revolve around her, or there'd be hell to pay. Mom and Dad didn't just enable her, they practically handed her the reins to the family. I remember one time when we were kids, and Nadia worked for weeks on a science fair project. She built this intricate solar system model with lights that actually turned on. It was amazing. But on the day of the fair, Erin threw a tantrum because she wasn't getting enough attention. She told Mom she felt left out and unloved because nobody was looking at her. So what did Mom do? She drove to the store, bought Erin her own trophy, and gave it to her in the middle of Nadia's presentation. It's for being such a supportive sister, Mom said, while Erin smirked like she'd won an Oscar. Nadia didn't say a word, but later that night, I found her crying in her room. That's how it always was. Erin bulldozing her way to the spotlight, and the rest of us cleaning up the emotional mess. Things didn't improve as we got older. If anything, Erin's entitlement got worse. By the time we were adults, she expected everyone to drop everything whenever she needed something. She once called me in the middle of the night because she wanted help putting together IKEA furniture for her apartment. When I told her it could wait until the morning, she guilt-tripped me about how she'd never ask for anything. Total lie. I caved, of course, because that's what we all did. Bend over backward for Erin while she took and took. The first big family showdown happened at Lydia's wedding. Lydia is the oldest and the most low-key person in our family. When Lydia got married, it should have been all about her, right? Wrong. Erin made damn sure to hijack the day. She stood up during the reception, the freaking reception, and announced her engagement. No heads up, no discussion, nothing. She just clinked her glass and said, "This is the last time I'll ever be a bridesmaid because next time I'll be the bride." Everyone clapped because what else do you do? But Lydia's face fell. She smiled through it, but you could tell it hurt. Erin, of course, basked in the attention like she'd just cured cancer. Later, I confronted Erin about it. "Couldn't you have waited to announce that?" I asked. Erin shrugged. "It's not a big deal. People were happy for me. Besides, Lydia didn't seem to mind." Yeah, she did. That wasn't the first time either. When Nadia turned 18, she wanted a small family party. Nothing crazy. But guess what? Erin scheduled her engagement party on the same day. Her excuse? The venue was only available that weekend. Total crap. She didn't even bother to ask Nadia if it was okay. Nadia's birthday became an afterthought, like an extra side dish no one ordered. And Erin? She didn't apologize. She barely even acknowledged it. And the worst part? Mom and Dad enabled her. Anytime one of us called Erin out, Mom would jump in with, "She didn't mean it that way," or, "You know Erin, she's just passionate." Passionate? No, she was selfish. But we couldn't say that without getting lectured about being too hard on her, or not understanding how much she's been through. Dad didn't say much, but his silence was just as bad. He'd sit there, arms crossed, while Mom defended Aaron to the death. Looking back, it's no wonder resentment started to build. Aaron wasn't just taking more than her fair share of attention, she was taking all of it. And she knew it. She thrived on it. Every compliment, every pat on the back, it fed her ego like gas to a fire. The only person who seemed immune to Aaron's charm was George, her fiancé. At first, he seemed smitten, just like everyone else. But as their engagement dragged on, I started to notice cracks in the facade. George would try to rein Aaron in, subtly suggesting she share the spotlight or tone down her demands. Aaron would brush him off, laughing like he didn't know what he was talking about. At the time, I thought it was just normal couple stuff. Now, I realized he was starting to see the same Aaron we'd all grown up with. Whatever the case, the cracks were starting to show. Little things here and there, like George's hesitation to back her up, or the way she'd get defensive when anyone challenged her. It was only a matter of time before everything came crashing down. Now, let's fast forward to the main event, Nadia's high school graduation. Nadia is the complete opposite of Aaron. She's quiet, hardworking, and never asks for anything. She put in so much effort throughout high school, balancing advanced classes, extracurriculars, and a part-time job. When she found out she was in the top 10 of her class, she was over the moon. She was even invited to give a speech at the ceremony. For once, it felt like Nadia was going to get the recognition she deserved. But Aaron had other plans. A few months before graduation, Aaron sent a message to the family group chat. "Hey everyone, just a quick update. The wedding date has been moved up to June 10th. The venue had a cancellation, and this works better for us anyway." At first I thought, okay, sucks that it's close to graduation season, but we'll figure it out. I didn't immediately connect the date. Then Nadia texted me privately. "That's the same day as my graduation." I stared at her message for a second, not sure how to respond. My gut reaction was to give Aaron the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she didn't realize. Maybe this was just bad luck. But Nadia quickly cleared that up. "I was in the kitchen when the venue called her," she explained. "The lady gave her two options, the 10th or the week after." Aaron literally laughed and said, "Oh, the 10th is fine. It's not like Nadia's graduation is that important." In my face, then she hung up like it was nothing. I felt a mix of anger and disbelief. Classic Aaron. This wasn't some scheduling mishap. This was deliberate. She didn't care that this was Nadia's big day. As far as Aaron was concerned, there was only room for one big event, and it was hers. I decided to confront her. "Hey, Aaron," I started carefully, trying not to sound too confrontational. "Did you realize the new wedding date is the same as Nadia's graduation?" At first, she put on her fake innocent act. "Oh my gosh, really? I totally forgot. I feel awful." But when I told her she needed to change it, her tone shifted completely. She got defensive, arms crossed, saying, "Well, it's not a big deal. We've had so many graduations already, and this is my wedding. It's a once-in-a-lifetime event." The sheer audacity of that comment left me speechless for a second. Are you kidding me, Aaron? This is Nadia's only high school graduation. She's been looking forward to this for years, and you're just dismissing it like it's nothing? She rolled her eyes and smirked, as if she'd already decided the conversation was over. "The invites are already printed. There's nothing I can do." But the thing is, there was plenty she could have done. Her fiancé, George, had actually suggested they choose the week after. He even said, "It'd be nice to have the whole family together for the wedding. We can wait another week." But Aaron wasn't having it. When George found out about the overlap and how it was affecting the family, nobody really cares about some high school graduation. He looked visibly uncomfortable. He pulled me aside during a family dinner and quietly asked, "Is it really that big of a deal? I mean, wouldn't most of the family want to go to her graduation?" I explained to him how much this meant to Nadia, and how Aaron had been pulling stunts like this for years. George sighed and shook his head. I suggested we change it. She shot me down. I could see the cracks forming in their relationship, but at that point, I wasn't sure how deep they ran. Meanwhile, Aaron started her smear campaign. She couldn't just let Nadia have her moment. She had to make her look bad, too. She began spreading rumors to extended family, saying Nadia was being overly dramatic, and that she was trying to ruin the wedding. She even went so far as to tell some relatives that Nadia wasn't doing as well in school as everyone thought. So this whole graduation drama is to ruin her wedding. She barely passed math, Aaron claimed. Total garbage. Nadia had worked her ass off to maintain her grades, but Aaron couldn't handle the idea of anyone seeing Nadia as accomplished or deserving of attention. The family quickly divided into two camps. On one side, you had Mom, Dad, and Aaron, who insisted that weddings take priority. Mom kept saying, "Aaron's under so much stress. Can't Nadia just understand?" Dad didn't say much, but his silence spoke volumes. On the other side, you had me, Lydia, Leo, and Josh. We were all firmly Team Nadia. "This isn't just about the graduation," Lydia said. "It's about respect. Aaron doesn't respect anyone but herself." But Nadia didn't understand. She was devastated. Her big day, something she'd been dreaming about for years, was being overshadowed by Erin's selfishness. She tried to hide it, but I could tell it was eating her up inside. She barely spoke at family gatherings, and when she did, she was quieter than usual. Erin, meanwhile, carried on as if nothing was wrong, happily chatting about flower arrangements and bridesmaid dresses, while Nadia sat silently in the background. That's when I decided enough was enough. If Erin wanted to be selfish, fine, but I wasn't going to let her get away with it without consequences. I told my parents straight up, I'm not going to Erin's wedding. Nadia deserves to have her family at her graduation, and I'm not going to let her down. Mom was horrified. You can't do that. It's Erin's wedding, she said, as if it was the greatest tragedy of the century. Dad just nodded along silently, his usual move when Mom was in lecture mode. Then came the guilt trip. At least let your son go, Mom pleaded. My son was supposed to be the ring bearer, and they thought using him as leverage would make me cave. It's not fair to punish him for adult problems, Mom said. I didn't budge. This isn't about punishment, I told her. It's about teaching him that we don't let people walk all over us, family or not. Leo and Lydia backed me up, and even Josh, who usually stayed neutral, sided with me. Erin, of course, lost her mind. She accused me of trying to sabotage her wedding, which was ironic considering she'd been sabotaging Nadia's graduation from the start. Mom kept trying to mediate, but it was clear whose side she was really on. Meanwhile, Erin's wedding was going forward without me, Leo, Lydia, or Josh. And while I didn't know it yet, things at the wedding weren't going as smoothly as Erin had hoped. George was starting to see the real Erin, and let's just say, the cracks were turning into full-blown fractures. The weeks leading up to June 10th were a mess. Erin wasn't just furious. She was in full-on damage control mode, calling and texting anyone who dared to side with Nadia. She spun the story to make herself the victim. Let me set the stage. Erin had made it painfully clear that her wedding was the main event, and anything that clashed with it, like, I don't know, her sister's graduation, was just a minor inconvenience to her. She had her timeline, her vision, and her ego, and none of them included compromise. But George? He wasn't exactly on board with all of this. It started with small disagreements. George had suggested they use the week after Nadia's graduation as the new wedding date. It makes sense, he told her during a family dinner one night. Your whole family can come, and we won't have to worry about anyone missing out. Erin brushed him off, barely looking up from her phone. They'll all come to the wedding, she said, with that smug confidence she always carried. And if they don't? If they actually choose her stupid graduation over my wedding, then they're clearly not my family. That just proves they don't like me. George froze, his brow furrowing. What are you talking about? They're your family, Erin. They love you. Choosing to support Nadia doesn't mean they don't care about you. Erin scoffed, shaking her head as if he just didn't get it. No, George. If they really cared about me, they wouldn't even think twice. My wedding should come first. If they don't show up, they're basically saying I don't matter to them. And I don't need people like that in my life. George didn't say anything, just stared like he was seeing her for the first time. Erin, that's not how family works. You can't just write people off because they don't do exactly what you want. But Erin didn't back down. If they don't choose me, what's the point of calling them family? He didn't push the issue that day, but you could tell her words stayed with him. I caught him later talking to one of his groomsmen in the backyard. She's so intense about this, he muttered, his voice heavy with frustration. It's like she sees everything as a loyalty test. I didn't realize she could be this controlling. I could tell that the cracks in their relationship were becoming impossible to ignore. A week later, things escalated. George found out about the rumors Erin had been spreading about Nadia. When George overheard this during a family gathering, he pulled Erin aside. What the hell was that? He hissed, trying to keep his voice down. Erin looked at him like he was overreacting. What are you talking about? That comment about Nadia being jealous of you. Why would you say that? It's not true. And even if it were, why would you throw her under the bus like that? Erin rolled her eyes. It's not a big deal. I was just explaining why this whole graduation thing isn't worth the drama. George's jaw tightened. It is a big deal, Erin. That's your sister. Why are you trying to tear her down? I'm not tearing her down, Erin snapped. I'm just being honest. George didn't say anything right away, but the tension between them was palpable. Later, I saw him sitting alone on the porch, looking like he had the weight of the world on his shoulders. As the wedding drew closer, the disagreements between Erin and George became harder to ignore. George had always been mild-mannered, the type to avoid conflict, but Erin was pushing him to his limit. One night, they had a blowout fight at their apartment, which I only heard about through Lydia, who got the details from one of Erin's bridesmaids. Apparently, George had suggested reaching out to Nadia and inviting her to the wedding, even if it meant skipping the graduation. He thought it might be a way to mend fences. But Erin lost it. "Why should I bend over backward for her?" she reportedly yelled. "She's not even making an effort to support me." Erin didn't take that well. She accused George of taking my side. Of all people. "You've been listening to my brother, haven't you? He's the one poisoning everyone against me." George, clearly fed up, told her flat out, "No one's poisoning anything, Erin. You're doing this to yourself." That's when Erin stormed out, slamming the door behind her. She didn't come back for hours. George spent the night on the couch, probably rethinking every life choice that led him to this moment. The breaking point for George came 2 days before the wedding. Erin had invited a few of her closest friends over for a pre-wedding get-together. George was there too, though he mostly kept to himself. At some point, one of Erin's friends jokingly asked her, "So how's married life going to change you?" Erin laughed and said, "Not much. I mean, let's be real. George will do whatever I say, just like now. He knows who's in charge." The room erupted in laughter, but George wasn't laughing. Later that night, he confronted Erin about the comment. "Do you really think of me that way?" he asked, his voice quiet but firm. Erin shrugged, clearly not taking him seriously. "Oh, come on, George. It was a joke." George didn't buy it. "You say it's a joke, but that's how you act. It's always about you. Your wedding, your plans, your way. What about us? What about me?" She rolled her eyes, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Oh, please, George. Stop being so sensitive. You're the groom, not the star. All you need to do is show up and say, 'I do.' Why are you making this so difficult? You're acting so weak right now." That was it. George's face went blank, and he stood up straighter, a sense of finality settling over him. "You know what, Erin?" he said, his voice steady but cold. "Maybe that's the problem. It's always about you. Your day. Your moment. Your everything. And you don't care who you step on to get it." Erin blinked, confused by the shift in his tone. "What are you saying?" she demanded, her voice sharp. "I'm saying I'm done," George replied. "I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not marrying you. I'm canceling everything." The color drained from Erin's face as the words sank in. "You can't be serious," she whispered, her voice cracking. "I've never been more serious," George said, turning to leave. "You'll figure out a way to make this my fault, I'm sure. But I know why this is happening. This isn't a marriage, Erin. It's a dictatorship, and I'm done pretending it's okay." Seconds later, the yelling started. She stormed out into the hallway, screaming his name, demanding he come back. But George was already gone. On 10th of June, I made it to Nadia's graduation, and let me tell you, it was everything she deserved and more. Meanwhile, my parents decided to stay behind with Erin. I heard they spent the day trying to console her and figure out what went wrong after the wedding was called off. It was clear they were still coddling her, just like always. The day after the non-wedding, Erin unleashed hell on social media. She posted a long rant about how her toxic family had sabotaged her happiness, blaming everyone but herself for what happened. She even tagged Nadia, saying, "Some people will do anything for attention." Erin's entire world shattered, and she did what Erin always does. She doubled down. If her life was in ruins, she was going to drag everyone else down with her. It started almost immediately. By the evening, Erin had rewritten the entire narrative. According to her, George didn't walk away because of her selfishness, controlling behavior, or the countless red flags she'd waved in his face. No, it was because I had poisoned him against her. And Nadia? Nadia was her co-conspirator, apparently using her graduation as an excuse to drive a wedge between Erin and the rest of the family. Mom wasn't exactly helping matters. Mom clung to Erin like her life depended on it, comforting her and feeding into her delusions. "You know she's been under so much stress lately," Mom said, when I called her out for blindly taking Erin's side. "You and Nadia need to stop being so selfish and think about how this has affected her." "How this has affected her?" I shot back. "She's been trashing Nadia for weeks, spreading lies, and trying to make her graduation meaningless. Now she's acting like the victim because George finally saw through her? No way." Dad, as usual, stayed quiet. He'd perfected the art of avoiding confrontation, but I could tell he was uncomfortable with the way Erin was acting. Still, he didn't say a word. It was like watching someone sit on the sidelines while the house burns down. A few days after the canceled wedding, Nadia's graduation party was in full swing. Despite everything, she was glowing, and her eyes shimmered like she was holding back tears. But Erin couldn't let that happen. About an hour into the party, one of Nadia's friends pulled me aside. "Hey," she said, looking uncomfortable. "I think you should know. Erin's been posting stuff online about Nadia." I felt my stomach drop. "What kind of stuff?" The girl hesitated, then showed me her phone. Erin had gone on a full-blown tirade on social media, accusing Nadia of being a manipulative brat who had ruined her wedding. She claimed Nadia had lied to George about her and called her a selfish, ungrateful little girl who doesn't deserve the family she has. The worst part? Aaron had tagged all Nadia's friends in the post, clearly trying to stir up more drama. When I saw Aaron's post, I was furious. She wasn't just trying to overshadow Nadia. She was turning the whole family against her. I showed it to Nadia, who just looked hurt and said, "Let's ignore it. I don't want to cause more drama," but I couldn't let it go. I pulled Leo and Lydia aside, and we decided to confront Aaron directly. I called her and put her on speaker. "What's wrong with you?" I asked as soon as she picked up. "Excuse me?" Aaron snapped, annoyed. "Don't play dumb. We saw your post about Nadia." Aaron didn't even deny it. "It's the truth. She ruined my life and you all took her side." "Aaron," Lydia said firmly, "you need to stop. You're making this worse for everyone, especially yourself." Aaron scoffed. "Oh, don't act innocent. You all turned your backs on me. If this family cared about me, none of this would have happened." "You mean George leaving you?" I shot back. "He left because he saw the real you. Stop blaming everyone else." That hit a nerve. "You're a hypocrite," she hissed. "And Nadia is just a spoiled brat who doesn't deserve anything she gets." I hung up. There was no reasoning with her. We told relatives who called about the post that Aaron wasn't welcome at the party, and her canceled wedding was her own doing. Mom, of course, sided with Aaron. She started calling me, saying, "You can't abandon your sister when she's so fragile." "She's not fragile, Mom," I said. "She's selfish. If you want to defend her, fine, but don't involve me." Mom didn't take it well. She started showing up at my house, ranting about how I needed to apologize. When I ignored her, she posted on Facebook about how her family had abandoned her and Aaron. It was exhausting, but I refused to engage, despite Aaron's efforts to ruin it. Nadia, meanwhile, was thriving. She left for college a few months later and cut ties with everyone except me and Leo. "I can't keep dealing with this," she told me. "It's too much." I didn't blame her one bit. A few weeks later, Nadia left for college. True to her word, she stayed in touch with me and Leo, sending us updates about how much happier she was away from it all. But as far as the rest of the family was concerned, she was done. No calls, no texts, no visits. She'd finally broken free. And honestly, I couldn't blame her. Aaron, meanwhile, was spiraling. George cut all ties with her, refusing to even return her calls. Her social media posts became more erratic, and she started losing the support of even her closest friends. She was unraveling, and there was no one left to pick up the pieces. And Dad, to my surprise, finally spoke up a few days later. He called me and said, "You were right about Aaron. I should have stepped in sooner." It wasn't a full apology, but it was the closest he'd come to admitting his role in enabling her behavior. He even started making an effort to connect with Nadia, taking her out for lunch and asking about her plans for college. So that's where we are now. I'll keep you updated if anything changes. Update. My dad moved out, and Mom is still defending Aaron. Hey Reddit. It's been a wild ride since my last post, so here's an update for those still invested in the chaos that is my family. If you've been following, you know the drama with my golden child sister Erin, who managed to implode her wedding and shift the blame to me and my sister Nadia. Well, now the fallout is in full swing, and things have taken a turn I didn't see coming. First, let's talk about my dad. Quiet, passive, go-with-the-flow dad finally hit his breaking point. After years of standing by while my mom bent over backward to defend Aaron's selfishness, he decided he'd had enough. He moved out last week and is staying with my older sister Lydia for now. I asked him why he finally left, and he just sighed and said, "Your mother's refusal to see the truth. It's too much. I can't do it anymore." I have to admit, I respect him for it. It's been years of him silently sitting through Aaron's antics while Mom made excuse after excuse for her. To see him finally take a stand was surprising, but long overdue. He told me he's realized how much damage staying quiet has done, not just to Nadia and me, but to all of us. Honestly, I wish this realization had come sooner, but I appreciate that he's trying now. He's been spending more time with me, Leo, and Lydia, and even made an effort to reach out to Nadia, who, if you remember, has cut contact with everyone except me and Leo since going to college. Now for Mom. Oh boy, where do I even start? If Aaron has a #1 fan, it's my mom. According to her, we're the problem. Not Aaron, who drove her fiancé away and tried to ruin her sister's graduation, but us, the ungrateful children who don't support family. At one point, she even showed up at my house unannounced to talk. By talk, I mean she stood in my living room, ranting about how I've abandoned Aaron and how I'm turning Dad against the family. "Do you see what you've done?" she said, practically shouting. Your father left because of you and your siblings, not Aaron. I looked her straight in the eye and said, Dad left because he's tired of enabling this mess. And honestly, so am I. You need to leave and stop making things worse for everyone. Her face turned red, and for a moment, she looked like she might say something. But instead, she spun around and stormed out, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. That was the last I heard from her. No calls, no texts, not even her usual passive-aggressive posts online. That was a relief. As for Erin, I wouldn't know much more than that because I've completely cut her off. I blocked her on everything. Social media, calls, texts, the works. I don't need her toxic energy anywhere near my life. It feels freeing, like closing a door that should have been shut a long time ago. And as far as I'm concerned, whatever drama she's stirring up now is no longer my problem. Meanwhile, Dad is settling in at Lydia's. He's been helping her with some house projects, and even talked about going to therapy, which honestly blew my mind. For a guy who's been so passive his whole life, it's like he's finally waking up. So, that's where things stand. What do you think? Would you have handled it the same way? Let me know, and I'll keep you updated if Aaron pulls another stunt.